Lincoln on Leadership, Executive Strategies for Tough Times by Donald T. Phillips. President Lincoln was a leader like no other. According to Phillips, Lincoln was the greatest leader this country and perhaps the world has ever known. School leaders today can apply his leadership principles to their own positions in order to become better and more effective leaders themselves. During his first 4 years as president, Lincoln spent most of his time among the troops. However, on October 24, 1861, Lincoln relieved General John C. Fremont from command because he was completely out of touch with those he commanded. Lincoln summarized his view of General Fremont's downfall. His cardinal mistake is that he isolates himself and allows nobody to see him, and by which he does not know what is going on in the very matter he is dealing with. From his habit of being visible and engaging with those under his leadership, Lincoln gleaned important information. School leaders would do well to follow his example and get out of the office. Leadership lesson number 1: get out of the office. While many leaders claim they can't get out of their offices to visit classrooms, the reality is being visible is a choice. Danny Steele and Todd Whitaker, in their book Essential Truths for Principals, call this management by walking around. They claim, like Lincoln, that there is no substitute for visibility. How can a leader practice the principle of management by walking around? First, be intentional by carving out time in your schedule. Second, make it a habit to start the day out of the office so that if someone needs you, they have to call you back. Finally, flip your office. Instead of a stationary office, get a cart with everything you need to function as you stand in the hallways and go in and out of classrooms. Visibility is a practical way to make yourself accessible to people and manage the culture at the same time. When Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, he laid out how the country would move forward after the Civil War, with malice toward none and charity for all. Lincoln went on to say, "What I deal with is too vast for malicious dealing, and this is true for leaders today as well." So how do leaders focus on important issues in an organization when opportunities for malice towards others arise? This is leadership lesson number 2. Rise above the pettiness. Leaders do not have time to get tangled up in the pettiness of office politics or vengeful pursuits. Therefore, at times, they must be willing to do nothing. As Dallas Willard states in his book, Renewing the Mind, now this idea of doing nothing proves to be absolutely terrifying to most people. But at least the person who is capable of doing nothing proves capable of refraining from doing the wrong thing. Then he or she will be better able to do the right thing. Furthermore, when dealing with pettiness, leaders should practice kindness at all times. While the truth may be necessary, truth encompassed in kindness has a greater impact. Every human being is made in God's image and worthy of being treated with dignity and respect. Finally, while leaders should not get entangled with malicious pursuits, great wisdom resides in recognizing the truth about others. Often leaders so believe the best about others that they live in denial of who they really are and fail to address their impact on the culture. However, as Phillips states, in general, a lack of malice on the part of a leader, genuine caring, inspires trust among subordinates and fosters innovative thinking. In a debate against Stephen A. Douglas, Douglas was applauded loudly when Lincoln was mostly ignored due to his stance on slavery. However, Lincoln did not let the crowd's approval deter him from speaking my honest sentiments upon the infernal judgment of slavery. After being defeated by Douglas, Lincoln went on to say, "I have found that it is not entirely safe when one is misrepresented under his very nose to allow the misrepresentation to go uncontradicted." Leadership lesson number 3: speak the truth. Like Lincoln, leaders must discern the difference between ignoring petty comments and standing up for the truth. Leaders must not allow the misrepresentation of their values, but instead speak the truth with courage and civility. In her book, Braving the Wilderness, Brené Brown encourages leaders to face those with differing opinions with generosity, empathy, and curiosity. She goes on to say that civility is claiming and caring for one's identity, needs, and beliefs without degrading someone else in the process. As leaders, we must agree without disrespect while also letting go of the tendency to deny what we truly believe in order to please others. As Brown states, being ourselves means sometimes having to find the courage to stand alone, totally alone, to brave the wilderness of uncertainty, vulnerability, and criticism. Lincoln knew well the feeling of standing alone and letting his character speak for itself. On one occasion, he told Marshall Lamon, who was outraged by a brutal attack on the president, "There has already been too much said about this falsehood. Let the thing alone. If I have not established a character enough to give the lie to this charge, I can only say that I am mistaken in my own estimate of myself." In the midst of great criticism, Lincoln sought refuge in knowing the truth about himself and the situation. As leaders, we must be prepared to do the same. When Lincoln appointed General George B. McClellan to office, he did so because he expected him to invade the South. Unfortunately, McClellan would not act, so Lincoln wrote to him, "And once more let me tell you, if it is indispensable to you that you strike a blow, you must act." Lincoln attempted to spur him to action by removing some of his responsibilities, but still no action was taken. Finally, Lincoln told him no further delays would be tolerated, and he removed him from his position. Leadership lesson number 4: some endings are necessary. School leaders can learn from Lincoln's example to offer grace until it becomes license. Leaders are optimistic and hopeful by nature and want their employees to succeed. But as Henry Cloud says in his book Necessary Endings, just as hope can conquer all, false hope can ruin everything. If it becomes clear that an employee is taking advantage of the support being offered, then it is necessary to provide directives that involve no latitude. If a leader allows a disruptive or unfit employee to continue, the leader risks the future of the organization and his or her credibility. In his book Good to Great, Jim Collins states, "Meanwhile, the best people are wondering, when are they going to do something about this?" Therefore, when the leader knows that every opportunity to improve has been exhausted, the employee must be removed from the position. Henry Cloud affirms, "In many contexts, until we let go of what is not good, we will never find something that is good." The lesson: good cannot begin until the bad ends. The South could not be free until McClellan was let go, and our organizations will never thrive until we let go of the dead branches that are taking up the space needed for the healthy ones to thrive. Lincoln modeled leadership at its finest. As he exhorted his fellow party members, "Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it." Just as Phillips describes Lincoln, let us as leaders maintain grace under pressure, know right from wrong, and have courage.